Core player skills TSR monsters are secretly teaching. 1. Information control. Don't act blind. What this skill is: gathering info before committing, verifying assumptions, not trusting appearances. What players learn the hard way: not everything is what it looks like. Missing information equals lethal decisions. How TSR teaches it: hidden threats, disguised dangers, enemies that punish wrong assumptions, shift in player behavior. From we see it, we act, to what do we actually know here? 2. Movement discipline. How you move matters. What this skill is: controlling pace, watching positioning, respecting the environment. What players learn: moving fast equals missing danger. Standing in the wrong place equals instant punishment. How TSR teaches it: environmental hazards, control-based threats, vertical danger, ceiling, pits, terrain, shift in behavior. From we walk through the dungeon to we control every step we take. 3. Resource management. Everything is finite. What this skill is: managing hit points, spells, gear, time. Know when something is worth the cost. When players learn, winning a fight can still lose the expedition. Resources matter more than individual victories. How TSR teaches it: permanent or semi-permanent consequences, gear destruction or loss, fights that drain more than they give, shift in behavior. From can we win this fight to what will this cost us? 4. Tactical positioning and team coordination. What this skill is: formation control, protecting vulnerable party members, acting as a unit, not individuals. What players learn: bad positioning gets people killed. One mistake affects the entire group. How TSR teaches it: enemies that disable, paralyze, ambush, flanking, multi-target threats, situations where isolation equals death. Shift in behavior. From everyone does their own thing to we move and we fight as a group. 5. Engagement control. Choose your battles. What this skill is: deciding when to fight, retreat, or avoid entirely. Controlling how a fight happens. What players learn: not every encounter is meant to be fought. Entering a bad fight is the real mistake. How TSR teaches it: overwhelming enemies, terrain disadvantage, encounters that spiral if mishandled. Shift in behavior. From we fight what we find to we decide when this happens. TSR monsters are not just obstacles. They are training tools designed to force players to develop information awareness, careful movement, resource discipline, team coordination, fight control. And the key truth: the game never tells you to learn these skills, it punishes you until you do. Mistakes that cause most total party kills in old school D&D. This isn't random. Most party wipes come from the same repeatable failures. 1. Acting without information. What it looks like: opening doors and walking in immediately, touching or interacting with unknown things, assuming it's just another room. What's actually happening? Players commit before understanding the situation. Why it causes wipes: you walk in, bad positioning, hidden threats, overwhelming numbers, and once you're in, it's too late to fix it cleanly. 2. Moving too fast through the dungeon. What it looks like: no marching order discipline, no spacing, no checking surroundings, especially ceilings and floors. What's actually happening? Players trade safety for speed without realizing it. Why it causes wipes: The party gets caught out of position. The party gets caught surprised. The party gets caught split up or disorganized. When combat starts, they're already losing. 3. Treating every fight as winnable. What it looks like. We can take this mentality. No hesitation on engagement. No exit plan before the fight starts. What's actually happening? Players assume the game is balanced around them. Why it causes wipes. They enter fights that outnumber them. They enter fights that outdamage them. They enter fights that outposition them and commit fully before realizing it. 4. Breaking formation under pressure. What it looks like. Frontline collapses. Players scatter or chase. Caster gets exposed. What is actually happening? Panic overrides coordination. Why it causes wipes. Once formation breaks, enemies isolate targets. Damage spikes. Recovery becomes impossible. This is where fights go from bad to unrecoverable. 5. Refusing to retreat or retreating too late. What it looks like. Staying in a losing fight, hoping for a turnaround. Calling retreat only after multiple characters drop. What's actually happening? Players emotionally commit instead of thinking tactically. Why it causes wipes? Retreat windows close fast. Exits get blocked. Movement is slowed. Wounded characters can't escape. By the time retreat is called, it's no longer viable. The real pattern behind all total party kills. It's not bad luck. It's this chain. No information, bad positioning, wrong fight, formation breaks, no escape. Once you hit step 3 or 4, you're already in serious trouble. Old school D&D doesn't kill parties randomly. It kills parties that assume instead of verify, rush instead of control, commit instead of elevate. And the brutal truth? Most total party kills are decided before the fight even starts. Things DMs do wrong when running a dungeon. This isn't about style or preference. These are the mistakes that break how the game is supposed to function. 1. Telegraphed safety. Nothing feels dangerous. What it looks like. Obvious warnings before every threat. You feel like this is dangerous. Players always given a chance to avoid consequences. What's actually happening? The DM is removing uncertainty. Why it's a problem? Players stop thinking. They rely on the DM to signal danger. Tension disappears completely. TSR expectation. Information comes from player questions, observation, interaction, not DM handholding. 2. Running balanced encounters. What it looks like. Every fight is winnable. Enemy numbers scaled to the party. No overwhelming threats. What's actually happening? The DM is turning the dungeon into a combat game. Why it's a problem? Players never learn. Caution, retreat, planning, TSR reality. Some encounters should be too strong, too numerous, not worth fighting. That's the point. 3. Ignoring time, light, and pressure. What it looks like. Torches never matter. No tracking turns. No wandering monsters or consequences for delay. What's actually happening? The dungeon becomes static and safe. Why it's a problem? Players can take forever. Overanalyze. Rest whenever. TSR expectation. Time creates pressure. Light runs out. Threats increase. Decisions matter. Without it, the dungeon doesn't function. 4. Letting players recover too easily. What it looks like. Easy healing access. Safe resting anywhere. No consequences after fights. What's actually happening? The DM removes long-term risk. Why it's a problem? Resource management disappears. Players stop elevating risk. Every fight becomes isolated. TSR design. Damage carries forward. Resources are limited. One bad fight affects everything after. 5. Not letting mistakes play out. What it looks like: softening outcomes, saving players from bad decisions, adjusting difficulty mid-session to prevent death. What's actually happening? The DM protects players from consequences. Why it's a problem? Players never improve. The game loses credibility. Tension becomes fake. TSR expectation. Bad decisions have real outcomes. The world doesn't adjust to save the party. The real issue behind all 5. All of these mistakes come from one place. The DM tries to protect the players from the game, but TSR design assumes the dungeon is neutral and dangerous. The DM runs it honestly. The players adapt or fail. When the DM gets this wrong, the game turns into predictable, safe, low tension. When they get it right, players become cautious. Decisions matter. Every success feels earned. And most importantly, the dungeon starts teaching the players how to actually play. What great dungeon masters do differently, and why players feel it immediately. 1. They present the world, they don't interpret it. What they do, describe exactly what's there. No hints, no you feel like, no stirring decisions. What players feel immediately. We are on our own. Why it matters. Players stop waiting for cues. They start asking better questions. Engagement goes up instantly. 2. They let danger exist without adjustment. What they do: run what's in the dungeon as is. No scaling mid-session. No softening encounters. What players feel immediately. This place is real. Why it matters. Every choice has weight. Players start thinking before acting. Fair and respect show up fast. 3. They keep the pressure constant. Time is always moving. What they do: track time, light, and movement. Let delays have consequences. Keep the dungeon active. What players feel immediately: we can't waste our time. Why it matters. Decisions get sharper. Over-planning disappears. The game gains momentum. 4. They enforce consequences without hesitation. What they do: let bad decisions play out fully. Don't intervene to save outcomes. Treat success and failure equally, honestly. What players feel immediately: this matters. Why it matters. Players learn fast. Tension becomes real, not artificial. Wins feel earned, not given. 5. They make the dungeon something to be solved, not fought. What they do: present situations, not just fights. Let players bypass, manipulate, or avoid threats. Don't assume combat is the answer. What players feel immediately: we have options. Why it matters. Creativity increases. Players start controlling outcomes. The game becomes about decisions, not stats. When a DM does these 5 things, players stop playing casually. They start thinking, planning, and adapting. The table shifts from reactive to intentional. And the biggest difference players notice right away: it feels like they are exploring a real place, not being guided through a game.